I'm filming this because maybe it's of any help to anyone in the future, but I have a 2005 Lexus GS300, and in addition to it being a complete pile of garbage, it has a faulty steering rack. If it wouldn't have a faulty steering rack, it would be still sort of drivable and I would use it, but it has no power steering, so you better have your arm strength ready if you're driving it. Anyhow, so this is the steering rack of the car. The factory code ends with G22, and this is a replacement I got off a junkyard. Most of the code is not visible, but it ends with 07, so 0722, and as you can see, they're like perfectly identical as far as length and everything else goes. Like these plugs here, these plugs here, these plugs here, attachment points, everything is like perfectly uniform. But what my idea was with the replacement steering rack is that I will change these plugs from the old one to the replacement one. So I'll turn the replacement one around, so then you can see what's wrong with it. This is the old faulty steering rack, the plugs, and this is the new quote-unquote maybe good steering rack out of a junkyard. And as you can see, as it's often the case with people dismantling cars, the plugs fall victim to mistreatment. So basically it's kinda sorta ruined. As you can see, this plug, and these wires here, they've all been mangled, and I'd say for no reason really, just to maybe save 20 seconds here or there. And what my plan was to take, so this is the old faulty one, you can see it's very shitty. Estonia is not a good place for cars, especially for Japanese cars in the winter. And my plan was to take the plugs of the old faulty one and put these on the quote-unquote new questionable one and see what the result is. But let me show you. The problem lies within here. I'll open it up. I brought tools, and then it's all fully visible. I'm sorry if my technical terminology is not correct, but the problem is that the plugs are, so I'm gonna directly translate it from Estonian, from what the mechanical people told me, but cold soldered to the steering rack, and that's why you can't change the plugs over. Because if you look inside there, you can see the connections, they're all broken on this one. I think my mechanic broke these when opening this up, which is all good. I'm not mad at all. It happens because literally I'm one of these guys who just goes in and just does stuff. I didn't look up anything before this, so it's my fault too. But yeah, so I would imagine all these other plugs are attached in there in a similar fashion, and that's a shame. That's a real shame. That's a shame that they break the plugs when dismantling the car, and that's a shame that this kind of solution has been used. I don't know if it's for better or for worse or for what reason, whatever, whatnot. The steering rack with the broken plug looks really clean inside. The problem with this one is that so no power steering, and also everything runs here on bearings, and the bearings make a worn out bearing noise. So yeah, this is my little predicament here, and most likely the car's junk anyway, but I could have driven it for some time. I'm gonna go see an electrician today, but I don't think I'm not an electrician, I'm not a mechanic, but to me it seems that it's either really finicky to repair or nigh on impossible, and then no one wants to even try, because you know most people would go back and complain if it stops working. I would just want to give it a college try, that's it. I mean, I've wasted this money on it anyway. Like I'm gonna pay the people who took out the other steering rack for their labor. I've already paid for this steering rack, like 250 euros, so I could like just spend a little bit extra just to find out, but we'll see. Anyway, maybe I hope it helps someone in some way in the future.